Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. This is Phoenix Dingo, and now I am going to talk about I'm going to discuss some of the comments that were put under some of the videos. First things first, if you like another candidate, definitely put in your views under there. You don't have to switch over. I don't believe that everyone has to believe what I believe. This is just what I think would be best. The candidates have different ways of trying to solve things. There's more than one route to get to a different place. I just feel like Andrew Yang will be faster. But if you disagree, definitely put stuff in. But let's all try and, keep the peace, keep the love, not get too personal with it, just say what you got to say, but let's not get insulting towards each other because it doesn't do it doesn't do anything. Granted, sometimes I lose my temper. I understand it's a very passionate thing. We're all trying to get there. So, with that said, let's move on. The first thing was UBI is not the answer for everything. And I definitely agree. I think someone said in the comments earlier that it's a life vest, and I completely agree. I think it's a way for them to be able to transition into paying higher wages. No one's going to get in there and just say $15 an hour right now. Um, that's not how it's going to work. It would be gradually implemented over the course of, I believe, 5 or 6 years, trying to get to the $15 an hour. But in the meantime, it's going to help people be able to live a better life. So I think, and it's also a way for them to be able to buy time for the average person and be able to monitor and do research and figure out how they're going to meet the needs of the people through a minimum wage that's a living wage, and at the same time be able to see the different impacts that it could have. On top of that, it's a way to help with the restaurants and for the businesses to be able to still prosper. You can't just jump up to, a living wage because it would be it's so far gone. Inflation has gotten so out of hand that it would be too much of a jump. If he started a business where wage is this amount, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, we're going to start paying people what they deserve to be paid and jump up here, that's going to completely screw businesses. And that's why I think it's so important that we have the basic universal income, because it's going to help us transition into this new age, this new wave of things. Now, there's another, someone else said, why settle for UBI when, there's solar infrastructure, etc. Well, Andrew Yang actually has a lot of these plans. Go to Andrew Yang 2020 and look him up. There's tons of plans that he has to cover all of these issues. So he's not just about the basic universal income. He just gets so little time that he's not able to really discuss everything. That's one problem that I have with the debates. It's a huge platform, but he gets cut out. A lot of times I've noticed where they're jumping around talking to all these main people, and the only way people are getting into the conversation is by jumping in and interrupting and being loud and causing confusion. So with the time that he's had, he's been going with that main thing. Now, now somebody said Bernie won't let the robots take over. Um, that's already started. Um, they had, like, I know where I live, they've been testing out for the last year buses that drive themselves. They have also been testing out cars that drive themselves. They're testing out Uber cars that drive themselves. It's already started happening. They've already started self checkout in Walmart, um, which is eliminates the need for cashiers. They got one cashier for, like, I think they've got 12 stations at our Walmart, one person. So it's already started. There's so many ways that you can see that it started. If you look on YouTube, you can see the technology that they're building that's going to take over a lot of these jobs, and this includes trucking, It includes construction, it includes waiting tables, it includes like cleaning and stuff in the supermarket. They had a robot that, it was on the news. There's a robot that goes through and cleans up messes and stuff like that. That's a janitorial job right there. And if you think like we've got that nifty little thing that you can sit down, put in the dimensions of your house, you turn it on, and it just goes through and it picks stuff up. Do you really think they're not going to develop one that they could do like mowing lawns and mowing like large yard areas for businesses and stuff like that? It's very near. It's very near. And then people who are doing the landscaping and stuff like that, they're going to have to worry about that. It'll limit what they can offer as as a provider. So it's kind of like the whole Paul Bunyan story. This isn't old, where they bring in technology and he's like, no, I can do it just as well. And he buried his way through the mountain, but he ended up having a heart attack and dying. He beat him, but he went through and died. There's only so much they can work us, whereas in technology can just keep going, just keep going. So I respectfully disagree with you. Robots already have started coming here, and they're going to get even more. Even over in, I want to say, Japan, they have sex robots. I mean, it's going to put hookers out. Not that that's legal, I'm just saying. Every aspect, there's so many different things. So it's really important. Now, when it comes down to, someone mentioned that the top three jobs was food, cashiering, and service jobs, the top three jobs. And that's why people aren't satisfied, is because they don't have fulfilling jobs. I definitely agree. I myself have been looking, and I've even been willing to go ahead and work these jobs. The problem for me is I'm overqualified for some and underqualified for stuff in my field. So I understand, but I would take the job. I wouldn't necessarily be happy in it, but I try my best to have a positive attitude every day. But I can understand how it's not fulfilling to a lot of people, especially with the pay. I understand paying people well, paying them what they're worth, and they'll work harder. I can kind of understand why people have nasty attitudes when I'm going through McDonald's. Granted, it's no excuse. I've worked it before. I wasn't happy with the job, but every day I treated people the way I would want to be treated when I was going through. And, I was the manager, but I was working right there with my people. So Andrew Yang does have a plan for that, and that would be training people for jobs that aren't going to go away, like roofing. That's going to be a hard one for them to come up with. So it's not that they can't, but that's going to be way further in the future. It's not really predicted to be taken over. So that's a good one. There's many different jobs that people can train for, like infrastructure changes. If we put a focus on that, if we put a focus on green, like installing uh, solar panels, this is a job that people could learn, you know? So Andrew Yang does have a plan for that. And I think saying that just federal jobs, someone made a remark about federal jobs and not everyone wanting them. I completely agree. Um, you know, I think it needs to be more diverse. There needs to be more training. Just because you don't go to college doesn't mean you shouldn't have life. There needs to be more trade training. There are some people that are meant for college and some that aren't. I know some people, they're not the brightest, crayon in the box. This isn't to say that I respect them any less. They're great people, but they're not meant for school. They're not meant to be a psychologist. They're not meant to be a doctor. I would be horrified to see them as my doctor. No shade. It's just, it is what it is. They are better off working with their hands. They're better off with different tracks. So if we come up with different ways to diversify, you could go to trade school and do that. There's need for everything. There's need for people in restaurants working more, not simple, but repetitive jobs. There's factory workers, stuff like that, different things. Now, some of it's going to be lost. So we need to find other ways for it to go. And as technology takes over, we got to find ways for it to be, because technology is supposed to make life easier. So why is life getting harder for the rest of us and easier for some people? Think about it. You know, it's only being utilized to make some people more money, but it's not necessarily making it easier for us. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to say is that um, people can multitask. Um, there doesn't have to be a focus on one thing. There are many different things that we can keep a focus on. I don't think we're all dumb. I don't think we're all simple. We can think about saving our planet and think about the income of the lower class. We can think about ways of doing our infrastructure. There's no reason that people in Flint should be drinking disgusting water, not to mention the rest of us. You know, we don't know what's in the water. Uh, Having contaminated stuff. I mean, we can focus on all of these things. To say that we can only focus on one thing is ridiculous. I think that there need to be many focuses, put a lot of different people in where they're supposed to be. Now, the reason I think Andrew Yang is the one is because I believe he can get it done. He can work with Democrats, he can work with Republicans. I don't see him as being overly offensive to either group. I think he kind of fits in both. And he even said he wanted to have both Republicans and Democrats working with him, not just one group. And I think that's the way to go, and that's the mentality to go. If we all come together on these things to work, that's how we're going to get it done. If we have somebody who's just pushing against everything that one group believes in, and there's no compromise on, and we don't take and listen to each other and learn from each other, and we're pig-headed, we're not going to get anywhere. Because if you offend someone, all they're going to do is dig in. They're not going to try and listen to you. They're going to fight back. They're going to double down, and that's not going to get us anywhere. So let's get a candidate that's actually willing to work with other people, who is willing to put in the work, but keeps people in mind so that the quality of life for everybody can go up, not just a certain percentage of people. All right, I think I have addressed on everything that people have said. Again, everybody, please, please, this is politics. It comes around every couple years. Don't lose friendships over this. Don't hate people over this. I know tons of people who voted for Trump. They're still my friends. They're still my family. I don't understand it, but that's not for me to understand. You vote for what you believe. You vote for what is going to make your life better, and you vote in your best interest, just like I'm going to. I can't expect you to do any different. So when we're discussing this, let's try and be respectful and remember that we all come from different points and we all have different experience. I welcome people who want to vote for anybody else, even Trump, to go ahead and rally for their person in my comments. Please do. But let's be respectful. Everybody, please subscribe and help me get to 1,000. Please like me and make some comments. Let's talk. Open dialogue is the key. Yang Yang 2020.